This country is celebrating its 150th anniversary next year and is selected as a must-visit tourist destination. It's a tourist attraction with its vast land and natural clean resources. But the secret behind Canada becoming the most visited tourist location is due to its differentiated marketing strategies. Jon Mamela is the young Chief Marketing Officer of Destination Canada, and he's leading the tourism marketing for Canada, creating localized strategies which suit the different foreign markets.
안녕하세요. Welcome everybody. We're here on set of Tokebi, a drama series being filmed over in Korea and here in beautiful Quebec City.
He's fascinated by the dynamic Korean market and is working hard to localize it.
Korea is a very important market to Canada and Canada's tourism industry.
Let's learn more about Jon Mamela's marketing strategies as well as his principles on this edition of The Innerview.
Hello, it's a pleasure to welcome you to The Interview. I'm your host, Park Sang-hee. Do you like to travel? It might be interesting to shed light on tourism marketing in an era where we can travel anywhere we want to. Today's guest is Jon Mamela, Chief Marketing Officer of Destination Canada. Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's a great opportunity to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Arirang TV has viewers from all corners of the world, including Canada. So
Good.
Say hello to our viewers.
Well, hello. Looking forward to sharing a little bit of what Canada's all about with the viewers in Canada. Be quite familiar with them as well as around the world.
Well, December is a busy month for everyone,
Yes.
especially for tourism industry. And you took your time out of your busy schedule to visit Korea. So are you enjoying your stay?
Absolutely. This is my third time, I think at least third time, maybe fourth time, but third time to Korea here in the last few years. We make it a point to, based in Vancouver, to make it out to our markets, and it's a great time to be in Korea with the great success we've had in driving tourism results from Korea and working with our local agency and partner and our tourism partners as well here in the city in and around the country. It's a good time to plan for what we've got going forward in 2017 and also recognizing the great success we've had in 2016 as well.
So I introduced you as a Chief Marketing Officer.
Yes.
What is your job?
Sure. It's fundamentally what we're doing at Destination Canada is transforming our organization to becoming a media organization that is working to connect our partners in Canada with audiences that we develop and driving the demand for Canada in international markets like Korea. In my capacity as the Chief Marketing Officer, I'm responsible for a few business areas within the group. Global marketing and communications, which is responsible for driving the brand and a lot of our marketing campaigns. Consumer and market intelligence, which is also critical for us to get to know our destinations and our audiences extremely well. Alongside with PR and media, which is a crucial part of how we communicate and tell the message of who we are and what we have to offer. And lastly, a side of the business, two sides to our business. One is leisure, which is what my time spent here is working on and driving the leisure traveler, but also what we call business events. And these are for meetings and conventions and incentive travel, and so I have a division of that unit as well. And lastly, partnerships, key to our business and many businesses, but key to us to drive the partnerships with our organizations in Canada.
Well, when I think of Canada,
Yes.
I think of this vast land,
Sure.
the second largest nation on earth, and also the amazing nature. And Canada was high ranked in Country Brand Index, but was not exactly on the top of the bucket list for travelers
Sure.
so far.
Yes.
But this year, Lonely Planet selected Canada as #1 destination for travelers in 2017.
Yes.
You must have done something right to bridge the gap.
Sure. Well, it's been a journey for sure. You're absolutely right. Many destinations around the world, including Canada, are challenged by a large pent-up interest to come to a destination, but have maybe no immediate desire to come tomorrow. They look to
Right.
come to the country.
No urgency
No
there.
urgency, and look maybe to visit one day or someday. We want them to visit tomorrow. Our journey towards sort of closing that gap has been one with which we've deliberately tried to change the perception of Canada inside the audience's mind. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're known for large, vast open spaces, amazing wilderness. But what we aren't known for, and what we know is important, is to showcase the cultural side of Canada. A young country, in relative terms to Korea, for sure, but one with which very diverse in terms of our people, inside dynamic cities, very urban, multicultural environments.
Not just the nature, but people.
No, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely, and the culture between but not only the culinary side, which is a multicultural, sort of microcosm of the world inside of Canada, that you can dine around the world inside of Canada without ever leaving the country, for that matter. But really getting a sense of who we are, how we celebrate, enjoy life, how we take advantage of the outdoors. Really, what you can also do in taking the time to explore our cities, which great fashion scene, fantastic music as we export some outstanding musicians and artists around the world, and really getting a true sense of that maybe the yin and the yang of both outdoors and urban as well. And so it's been a strategic focus on changing and shifting and identity to Canada being cool and hip, maybe not so much what we maybe
Right.
used to be, and doing it through effective storytelling. And leveraging influencers as well has been a big part of our strategy and how we tell that story.
It's interesting you mentioned yin and yang. It's not just outdoors, but indoor
Yes.
activities as well, right?
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
Well, following up on your answer, the United Nations World Tourism Organization
Yes.
released a very positive number for Canada.
Yes.
The average international arrivals growth rate was 4.4%. Whereas Canada's went up to 8%,
That's right.
which is almost a double
That's
the
right.
growth rate in the rest of the world.
Yes.
So what contributed to this big growth?
Well, it's a variety of factors. The numbers that you mentioned, 2015 was a very good year for Canada, up literally almost 8%, almost double. This year we're even outperforming last year's numbers.
Oh, really?
We're almost 3 times above the global
Oh.
average. So we're continuing momentum. What's happening? A variety of factors, what we call sort of the tailwinds in our favor. We have a strong brand in the country. We're raising our profile globally through a variety of activities and efforts, through tourism and other areas. So we're being top of mind a little bit more to our audiences. We have incremental direct air capacity into the country. Here in Korea alone, it's up. I believe we're well over 35% incremental flights or seats coming into the country, so people can get there a lot easier. Limited
because
barriers.
of direct flights and
Correct.
and all.
Yeah, the ease with which one stop flying, directly into the country. Limited barriers in terms of the more difficult you make it for the difficulty of visas and other factors that get in place is always sort of a barrier of people considering.
Right.
In addition, there's a large. We feel like the momentum towards a large audience that is growing in size. The younger demographic looking to travel and explore around the world is definitely growing in that factor. And I'd say at the same time, for us as well, it's innovative and creative marketing and exemplified in what some of the work we're doing here in Korea. You put all that together and you get a momentum and a focus, which is great. It results in great near-term economic benefit for the country, diversifying the economy. Our operators are full and demand is high, but also at the same time that brings further reinvestment into the country as well, which is great. You're always looking to upgrade product, introduce new experiences, and I like to stay fresh, and it's a win-win for Canada for sure.
We live in the age of information overload.
Yes.
Our daily life is just saturated with commercials and infomercials, advertisements, and all sorts of persuasive messages.
Yes.
And to tackle all this, I believe that you use the social media quite wisely. The Facebook page of Destination Canada is one of the very successful ones, attracting 90,000 Facebook users.
Oh yeah, we're even beyond that now.
Even beyond that
now.
now.
We're well over 150,000 engaged audience and fans.
So how do you operate that?
Well, I think first you have to step back and take a look and recognize that, as you mentioned, in particular here in Korea, it is a culture and an environment with which the overwhelming sense of, as you said, the opportunity to connect on the phone, on the television, you name it, billboards, it can be overwhelming. You've got to look at what each media channel allows you to, and what you really want to accomplish with that. And when it came to social media, it was the first introduction allowing we as a brand, but many brands around the world and organizations, to connect with audiences in a more an interactive capacity, with creating community, creating engagement. And so, our strategy towards social media and driven by the team here in Korea is one with which really inviting the audience into conversation, really taking the opportunity to portray again and showcase that unique side of Canada that maybe we wouldn't accomplish in other media channels. We can test things very quickly. You can get immediate reaction and engagement, and finding what has potential to be referred to.
Right?
Yeah, what they want, absolutely. And it's the medium with which can be shared and propagated out to others that you just can't get in other media. So we're witnessing a fantastic engagement with Facebook and continuing to grow that, as well as Naver, as well as another audience and an environment with which we'll direct from Facebook onto Naver and then onto our other properties or other content assets. So we know consumers are moving in and around and finding conversations amongst others, and we have to be part of that conversation, and social media allows us to do that.
Interactivity is the key.
It is.
To success,
it really is.
Right?
It's two-way.
Right.
Yes.
Are there any challenges for using social media outlets?
Well, I think just the challenges are you have to be, once you've committed and you're on there, you have to stay engaged. An audience is going to get, I think, quick, not maybe quick to judge, but clearly they have many options as well in the social media sphere. So you've got to be willing to think long in terms of, I'm on there, what are we going to say, how are we going to say it, in terms of being on it regularly. So I think the risk is you just can't put your toe in the water and walk away. You could do that, but I think with the success we've got, it's a committed effort. So you've got to make sure you've got the
long-term thing, right?
Yeah, you've got to have the resources and a willingness to again be innovative and try things out. But knowing that it is something with which you have to put a lot of work in behind. It's not easy, but it can be very effective.
You should be also open to the criticisms as
well. That's true. In terms of, you have to be open to that dialogue.
Right.
And fortunately, I think we find, for the most part, I would say, a lot of positive reaction and feelings towards the country and from what we offer from a tourism perspective. So.
Well, I can never overemphasize the importance of content in marketing.
Yes.
What kind of contents have you developed so far?
We have a variety of initiatives that we've undertaken, working with media publishing brands like the likes of National Geographic, for instance, in allowing their influencers and their creators to tell the Canada story, given with guidance and direction and construct. Another one here in Korea that we've just launched, Takebe, which is the newly launched drama series here that is, I think, one of our most unique content plays. If you think about it, taking advantage of the cultural phenomenon here in Korea with drama series and their influence on conversation is one that, again, we are introducing a new part of the country to an audience here in Korea that may know Canada a little bit, but they certainly don't know probably Quebec that well. And you couldn't ask for a platform to engage and to start that conversation, which we direct further through in terms of getting to know Quebec a little more detail online. So it's ranging everything from a drama series to smaller influencer opportunities to national and global media brands. And it's again targeted against specific themes and how we want to shift that perception of Canada.
Well, tell us about the program Far and Wide, the program for millennials.
Yeah, that's another, it's an interesting one because, interesting you brought that up, because it's one that was initially focused in on Canadians. And part of what we do at Destination Canada is to drive international tourism into the country, not moving Canadians within Canada. But because of 2017 next year, and in a short few weeks, is our 150th anniversary as a country.
Right.
As a contribution to the conversation and driving attention to Canada, we took upon ourselves to initiate and develop a program called Far and Wide, which was intended to really keep Canadians closer to home for a year, in particular the millennial generation. We have, as probably Korea may experience the same, a large deficit in terms of the number of trips in Canada that Canadians are taking, younger Canadians are taking around the world, a desire to explore the edges of the globe, and not really recognizing what we have close to home.
What we have inside.
Yeah,
right.
and stay maybe to make one of those trips closer to home. And so with trying to limit that deficit of seeing Canada and as your next trip and in a new light, we work with a national media partner in Canada to develop Far and Wide. And it's the idea of really connecting and showcasing Canada's destination and destination options to millennial generation and the millennial travelers who may not be that familiar. And seeing it through the lenses of influencers, someone whom they trust, someone who they think has a valid, authentic voice, and really, again, showcasing all the cool things you can do in places that maybe you went with your parents when you were younger, but you really didn't get to see them in an entirely new light as you've gotten older. And so the benefit and the success of this program, which is really generating a lot of engagement back home in Canada, is you can take content which doesn't have an expiration date. Clearly there can be limits on what you can and can't use, but we've been very effective in working with our partner to take that and distribute it internationally. So here in Korea, we're working with local tour operator to take that content, place it inside of their environment and their engagement with their audiences, alongside with what we do on our content sites, and repurpose that content. You know, we put Korean subtitles, of course, against it, and we're finding great success of engaging and taking advantage of, again, a younger demographic who's looking and traveling to Canada, and seeing someone of their own age doing things that they would love to do, or seeing how Canadians are enjoying the country. So very, very effective globalization with some local nuancing with what we do with our content.
Well, considering how hard it is to move around those Generation Ys,
Yes.
how did you trigger them to see more of Canada inside?
Well, again, I think it's really understanding who and what they want to do. You really have to get to know your audience. You really have to appreciate what's going to compel them to see
Right.
a destination differently, and
Right.
get them on the plane or train, bus, boat, you name it, to really make that commitment. And so we first really had to understand who our audience was, how they were thinking, what were they trading off from Canada to another destination, really ensuring that we do a good job of trying to understand who they are in real time in the digital space that allows you to do that, and serve them the right appropriate content and the experiences that are more meaningful to them than another option. And so it's work in practice and the like, but it's something we're finding great success, that we're getting large video views, large engagement, large referrals, and passing along the content. And so, and it's interesting, some of the more, you would think, lesser known destinations are finding themselves to be more attractive to our audiences, which is quite fascinating. We have smaller known places that are really getting some really good traction through this approach.
Well, I think it's a very good investment for younger generations, because they will come back for later, right?
Well, absolutely. You have the lifetime value of that customer.
You're right.
And we really believe that a country as large as Canada, and the breadth and depth and the four-season offering that we have, that you really can't enjoy it in one visit by any sense. And that's good for us. It's an opportunity for someone to come back multiple times over their lifetime, either, as you said, as a millennial, as a couple, as a family,
As a grandparent.
come back again and celebrate your
Right.
honeymoon. So your second honeymoon, which is a strategy we undertake here in Korea.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. If you can get the audience engaged and visiting the destination, you know, we find that people who have been to Canada, you know, truly from a recommendation and return, significantly greater than those who haven't. So we're doing a good job in delivering a great experience in Canada.
We're turning our attention to outside Canada.
Yes.
But Destination Canada is progressing the concept of localization.
Yes.
Why does localization matter?
For us, localization is critical to achieving the outcomes, we feel. The notion of, for us, in taking a strategic framework, but allowing a local nuance that reflects the culture, reflects the media habits, reflects the interests, and the unique dynamic of how you can distribute and engage audiences with your content, are all factors that we play with, and levers that we shift as it relates to every market. It's critical because I think the notion of feeling that the audience in Korea would be anything like the audience in Japan to the audience in China, and making an assumption that what we would do and produce and distribute it equally everywhere in the same vein, I think just is being inauthentic. And for us to take advantage of that dynamic and difference, and some of them are small differences, and some of them are great differences that we've seen in the results that we're generating for the country, as noted earlier, in terms of the performance. And so it's critical for us. It's not maybe the strategy undertaken by everybody, but it's one that I think also speaks to us as being Canadian. We're we recognize, given the diversity of our country and the people, and we are a country of immigrants, and getting to know that and seeing that and working in your day-to-day lives with people from different backgrounds that may have immigrated or their parents have immigrated, that you really see a difference in how people grew up and where they grew up, and how that can make a difference in how you communicate and engage. And so maybe it's just our Canadian way and approach, but we think it's also solid, sound strategic business thinking that is generating results for us.
And also has been successful, right?
It has, absolutely, absolutely. Here in Korea, it's our fastest growing market in Asia Pacific. We're up nearly well over 30% growth versus last year. And I think that speaks volumes to us making the decisions around how do we encourage innovative risk-taking and cultural application that creates that localization outcome that is generating results.
Well, I was very impressed with your efforts and energy to make Canada as one of the top destinations.
Thank you.
We'll continue on after taking a look at this video clip.
Sure.
Canada is celebrating its 150th anniversary in 2017. The nation has maintained a high country brand index or CBI, but it ranked relatively lower as a travel destination. Destination Canada, the tourism organization of Canada, has been thinking in depth to narrow the gap between the two. Along with Canada's vast land and natural resources, there is a special strategy hidden in the marketing sector. Use social media actively. Video clips which promote Canada are made by Canadians and are posted online. These promotional videos are created a new image for those thinking about traveling to Canada. Destination Canada is actively promoting through social media for those who are familiar to it. Use televised marketing through TV programs and variety shows.
Come and visit us in Canada's 150th
As a marketer,
anniversary.
Jon Mamela fully comprehends the importance of the localization. Televised marketing is a part of a localization, and the forte of this marketing strategy is a Korean wave effect in Korea and in other Asian nations. Approach visitors with marketing which stimulates their senses. Through repositioning of products, Canada is using the aurora through sensual marketing rather than rational marketing. Rare natural phenomena are used as products which hail visitors, and this change was a successful one. Jon Mamela and Destination Canada will work hard to continuously create new and diverse contents on Canada through a wide range of different channels.
Well, someone defined marketing as an equation for survival. You've been in the field of marketing for 20 years in
Yes.
both private and public sectors.
Yes.
How would you define marketing in 21st century?
You know, I think marketing in the 21st century I've described to others as a rapid decrease in the shelf life of what you can do in marketing. What you've relied on in the past, you've really got to be staying on top of your game. The shifts are incredible that are taking place with the introduction of technology, as well as with consumer behavior. But at the end of the day, marketing is really getting to know who your audience is. It's creating competitive advantage and positioning how your brand or your product and service fundamentally meets their needs, and doing it very creatively. And so you just got to be staying on top of your game.
How do you train yourself to stay competent in the field? Do
Yeah,
you study a
sure.
lot, or do you read a lot?
Yeah, you know, I'm following a fair number of other, I'd say, industry experts. You look at other brands. You look at those who are publishing and providing perspective on what's going on in the industry from trends and the like. And it's good reading. It's good communication and engagement with a variety of sources. So you're sort of in always-on learning mode, fundamentally.
Constant learning.
Constant learning is the key. Never stop learning. Always be curious.
There are many up-to-date, marketing methods,
Sure.
which is using like live streaming
Yes.
or virtual reality
Yes.
or native advertising
Yes.
and so forth. What is your forecast for the marketing trend for 2017?
It's a great question. You know, I think difficult to be in the trending, forecasting trends, but things that we're seeing specifically, mobile continues to be, and it has been for many years, but mobile continues to be an opportunity in a space, particularly in these markets where you've got to be designing for mobile. You've got to think first that the customer is going to view and engage with your content on a much smaller screen than what you might want to work with. And a coined term out of the United States is this notion of authentically mobile. The idea with which the mobile experience brings to life something about your brand or your product again or service that is fundamentally couldn't be done without the phone. And Pokemon Go and other Uber and Sony's efforts in the gaming space recently are showcasing that. So this notion of really working your business with mobile in mind. Artificial intelligence is also starting to find its way in through chatbots, which is a technology approach that is being taken by some brands in travel. But in itself, the AI side of things with how it's going to enable consumers to make decisions or move content in front of audiences more smartly. And you've got to really determine and almost be better in math than you almost has to be in terms of being creative. And you have to have that good combination of both. Another trend that I'd say is really effectively and working with both the combination of media publishing brands who have large engagement and reach, but with influencers. And we're seeing the crossover between those two intersecting and working more effectively together. So those are just a few, but there's many to take into account.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about yourself.
Sure.
When did you first get interested in marketing?
It was a unique shift for me. I was actually, my undergrad studies were in physics and chemistry.
And chemistry, right?
Yeah, so making a shift over to marketing is certainly a 180-degree turn. I took the opportunity to always take elective classes and enjoy the topic and the subject of marketing. But the shift for me was moving from an undergrad in a science focus to an MBA in marketing. And taking advantage and the opportunity to explore that at a unique time when the internet was just getting going, at least in terms of a viable consumer medium and channel. And so through my focus and time within my MBA in marketing, moving on to Procter & Gamble, I think sort of the great university, if you call it that, but a great training ground and really sets you from a foundation for your professional career going forward that has evolved inside of travel and tourism. With hospitality and tourism that's been ongoing for the last 20 years.
You are very active in hotels and resorts marketing.
Yes.
How is it different?
Well, I've had the experience of working for two fantastic Canadian brands in the hospitality space with both Fairmont Hotels and Resorts and Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts. Unique to the hotel world, I think, and is fundamentally the customer experience is the marketing of that brand in many ways. What you enjoy and what you experience, where you spend the time in the environments with the employees of that hotel and that company, really formulate how you can what you portray and how you build loyalty to that brand. It's a business with which data is just you have a wealth of data. You really get to know a customer and their willingness to share information and get to know them really well. So to take advantage and from a data analytics standpoint and taking that to deliver personalized experiences is unlike many other industries. If you think about the time people spend in interacting with a hospitality brand is greater than anything in many other brands for that amount of opportunity to get to know somebody. And really you can close the loop. And the notion in marketing, the idea between testing a message and determining whether someone took action to the bottom line that rang the cash register. And in hotels, you truly know who got what message, who's got what communication, what offer's been put in place, and what is it driving from an ROI. So it's a fantastic environment to really grow a marketing career.
You tend to more focus on the customer reaction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You do have to keep you're running a business and you have to keep the hotel profitable, but you can never keep your eye off the customer. And,
Right.
It's a great environment for that.
And as a vice president of Travel Arbiter, you launched the brand campaign, Remember to Breathe. Could you tell us about that?
Sure. It was an interesting time. It was when Travel Alberta as a business and as an entity was forming. We had the opportunity to establish a new position and a new direction for the brand for the province of Alberta. And we took upon a direction then at the time to, unlike most destinations, will often focus on, or had then at the time, focused on the place, not the person. And so we turned the focus in on what we felt was more important for a destination that is the most epic one of the most epic landscapes in Canada and a variety of product and experiences. But we put the consumer at the center of the brand expression, Remember to Breathe. It was all about this notion of getting lost in your sort of sense of place and around surroundings, but getting sort of that goosebump moment when you realize this is one of the most amazing things you're doing in life and on this trip. And so it was an opportunity for us to, again, express Alberta very differently, but do it in a way that put consumer in the center in these amazing environments and not forgetting why you travel and what you're seeking in life for even that matter. So very, very successful for the business.
More value oriented, I think. Then.
Yeah, it absolutely is, I think, because competing on place is difficult when there's, if you look at a lot of marketing and tourism, you take off the logo or the place identifier and you really wonder, where is that?
Right.
So you've got to find a unique angle and a new direction to really stand out.
Because everybody needs, space to breathe, right?
That's right. Oh, that too. Absolutely. Canada's the place for that.
Right. We followed you exploring Korea.
Yes.
We'll take a look and before we come back.
Sure.
Jon Mamela, the CMO of Destination Canada, has shown special interest in the Korean market, and the interview followed him on his itinerary here in Korea. Jon Mamela met various Korean media. They became partners and discussed in depth about their respective roles. And he attended a press conference with tourism-related journalists and told them about the purpose of his visit to Korea and the attractive factors of Canada as a tourist location.
Korea is a very important market to Canada and Canada's tourism industry. We have been committed and invested in Korea as a market for many, many years. It has performed well, but in the last 3 years, and in particular the last 2 years, has been a very, very strong performer.
He then attended an award ceremony which invites tourism industry partners and give an award to the Excellent Travel Agency. When he met with other partners in the tourism industry, they exchanged information and held discussions to search for ways to supplement various problems. Jon Mamela was enthralled by the characteristics of the dynamic Korean market when he first visited Korea in 2014. Since 2015, out of all the global markets, he has personally controlled the promotional marketing activities taking place in Korea and is showing affection for the eastern country.
커뮤니케이션에 능하신 분이셔서 저희 한국 시장을 일종의 이제 대변하셔서 캐나다 저희 파트너들에게 한국 시장이 얼만큼 중요한지 또 저희가 얼만큼 잘하고 있는지 대변해 주시는 그런 대변자 역할을 하고 계세요.
Celebrate Canada 2016 is the award ceremony to select excellent travel agencies. We look forward to understanding Canada better through the award ceremony and hope it will be a win-win situation for both Korea and Canada.
Well, you are concentrating on developing content for Korea with televised marketing, which is promoting through TV shows.
Yes.
How effective is televised marketing as marketing strategy?
Yeah, I think for us it was an investment and an opportunity to actually answer that question. We had seen it done for other destinations here in Korea that had success in integrating their destination into the storyline of a television drama series. So for us, it's a first trial here in Korea. And what we're witnessing already in the first few weeks, or maybe the first week actually, significant growth and gain of interest by an audience. If you consider the measure of people having Canada top of mind in conversation, people are watching the drama series, and what we're finding is they're also engaging with us online. So we've seen 6 times growth in terms of engagement on our Naver blog page and with our conversations that we're having on Facebook and what we're putting in terms of content to drive to tour operators to buy Canada and see that. So all early indications within 1 week are already showing that it was a very well invested strategy for us.
Korea is going to host a 2018 Winter Olympics. And Canada is a role model with this death-free legacy and all. And how did Destination Canada contribute to the success of the Winter Olympics in Canada?
For us, it was an opportunity to take advantage of what is putting the country on the global stage with great attention, short period of time.
Right.
But we actually extended that period of time, actually, working in each market, identifying influencers who had large engagement back with their fellow countrymen and countrywomen, and took advantage of them seeing the country or exploring the country before the games, during the games, in a way through the Olympic torch relay. That I think Canada was one of the first then at the time to move the torch around the country, as well as to get to allow those influencers to see the country and spend time with Canadians, explore some of the tourism elements and tourism offerings of the country. And really to recognizing, yes, it's on the global stage for sport, but it's also the global stage for place. And the opportunity to showcase that through tourism is one way that we help bring, I think, a new perspective and view on Canada over those 10 days, or 2 weeks, but even well before and post.
Well, Korea recently welcomed 10 million foreign tourists. I'd like to hear your expert opinion on the future prospect of Korean tourism industry.
Well, I think similar to Canada, the upside for global tourism for any country, for most countries, is incredible. As a visitor here, while I'm coming for business, I've got to know the country and the place just a little bit. I think what I've learned in a short period of time is more than I ever imagined that I appreciated about or understood about Korea. The diversity of the place in terms of everything from beaches to mountains to big cities. The food. Culinary, as you mentioned, I love the food. Really getting to experience the flavors, and if you love food and spicy food and barbecue, this is the place to come. I think as well the opportunity to experience the destination across all seasons gives Korea a great opportunity for foreigners to see, and shopping, of course. The fashion and everything here is truly second to none, and so significant upside for Korea. I think working Tourism Korea and working with partners. my advice and perspective, at least what we've seen really work well, is really to get to know the audience and finding out from both from media brands and publishers to really showcase and storytell through great content what you have to offer, and doing it in a way that I get a sense of some of the themes or itineraries of things to do. And I know they're doing a good job at it. By all means, I'd say just keep that going, and because I think I look forward to coming back all the time. My team here knows, and I find and discover something new. So there is more to discover, as sort of the notion or the line goes, and significant upside for Tourism Korea and partners here.
Any plans for tourism exchange between Canada and Korea?
Yeah, we have had relations, an MOU with Tourism Korea to share marketing expertise and perspective, as well as research insights and findings between the two countries. We've had a MOU established with YTN, who've been doing some great filming in our national parks as part of their partnership with us. And as well as we recently in conversations with Kojiman Resort from a ski perspective in the winter to bring connections between skiers in both countries to come and experience on both sides, and for us in particular to try to get Korean skiers to come and see Canada as a new place to come and try in the winter.
Well, 2017 is just around the corner. It's a very special year for Canada as it's celebrating 150th anniversary. And Destination Canada is preparing a wide range of events. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. 2017 is our 150th anniversary. Not pretty young compared to Korea, but very special for us as a country. And we are taking advantage of what our partners are creating. And really Ottawa, as our nation's capital, is taking center stage. But really the opportunity for Canada to tell the story and the celebration of our birthday is all year round. And it's taking place from coast to coast to coast. As mentioned, Ottawa being sort of center stage, as one might expect, is an opportunity to see and get a sense of Canada in an amazing destination. Everything from outdoor experiences to special cultural events. We have a Red Bull is doing a really interesting winter experience with racing down ice tracks, which is a really fun sport to watch. We're celebrating on Parliament Hill on July 1, our nation's birthday. But as well, bring some great experiences importing from other places that have really done well. But in Quebec City has got some great experiences and events happening. As Montreal, the city of Montreal is actually 375 years old, older than the country. So a lot is going on. We really encourage that you don't have to all just come in July. There's a lot to experience and a lot that will be presented to our visitors all throughout the year.
Could you recommend a couple just to add to our the list when we go to Canada next year?
Well, I would say from a fashion sense, with the fashion culture that Korea is, coming to Montreal and Toronto is our fashion capitals. To really get a sense of true Canadian fashion and some great fashion designers and labels and some great experiences there as well, just from the city side. And Montreal, both with its French and English complement as well. And Quebec, of course, with what we're doing with the Takebe series and coming and see exactly where that was filmed and where that takes place is amazing. And ultimately, there's so many to list, but as well with if you're into culinary and food and you enjoy the wine, Canada's wine regions, both the Niagara and the Okanagan and the Kelowna is outstanding, second to none. And you really can be surprised with what we have to offer between our cities. And 2017 as well as the year with which the National Parks of Canada will be complimentary and free. And visitors coming get to enjoy some of the best world's parks in unbelievable settings and views, Banff, Lake Louise, and others through Northwest Territories and the Yukon and such. Absolutely amazing, and no charge.
There are many who want to promote tourism like you, and there are youngsters who challenge themselves to new things. Would you like to say a few words of wisdom for them?
Yeah, I'd say, if any industry in the world that is forecasted to continue to grow, is going to be tourism. It is an industry with which has everything from hotels, attractions, transportation, nation branding like we do, or city branding. I think the opportunity to get into the industry can take you to many, many places that you didn't anticipate. If you stay curious, stay open, work hard, it's something I think you can pay dividends off in your career. We're finding in tourism marketing the need to have specialization and skills coming from other industries, from analytics, creative people, really strong strategic thinking. So I think if someone says, I didn't study tourism or, I enjoy travel, really, if you have a passion for it, you'll find a home in an organization as part of the overall mix of what makes up the tourism industry. So I'd encourage it. It's an industry that's growing in a positive future for those entering the market.
Well, it's already time for us to wrap up our interview. It was a great opportunity to learn about tourism marketing, especially from the viewpoint of Canada.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
you.